Hello and welcome to the Common Colt Podcast. My name is Josh Hudgens, and with me is my co-host Dan Hertzler. How's it going, Dan?
Doing pretty good. Enjoying a Sunday afternoon with stress-free Colts football. It's kind of enjoyable today.
It feels good. Well, the Colts are on a mini bye week because they played Thursday night, but we could still talk Colts football. There's still a lot of naysayers are saying, hey, Matt Ryan is washed up. And I think we're going to dive into that today. And I think to dive into that, we just have to say, well, what was the expectations for Matt Ryan in the first place? And that's my question to you is, what did you expect out of Matt Ryan this season?
Yeah, if I'm, hungry and I'm going to get some fast food, I'm having my expectations kind of lower than if I'm going to sit down at a nice fine dinner and I'm going to enjoy a nice steak and sit down. So I think we got to be realistic here of what were the real expectations for a 37-year-old quarterback who over the last 3 years in Atlanta was the numbers were starting to drip. He was still throwing at a pretty good rate as far as touchdowns, interceptions, but the yards were down, the total TDs were down. He just is who he is, and the Colts went after him, thinking he was going to be that game manager, field general kind of player. Great offensive line, wonderful running game, and Matt Ryan was just going to make the smart decisions that Carson Wentz didn't make, and he had a little bit of a stronger arm than Phillip Rivers. That's what we went into it. So that's kind of how I looked at it. My expectations were pretty much what he ended his Atlanta term, maybe 20, 25 touchdowns, maybe 10 to 12 interceptions, 60, maybe 65%, maybe about 3,500 yards. So nothing major, but good enough.
I think that the idea of veteran quarterbacks going to new teams and having major success has been skewed a little bit by guys, you might have heard of them actually, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. These are recent guys who have gone to teams and had really great success. Peyton Manning, all those years in Indianapolis, goes to Denver and puts up amazing stats, breaks a passing touchdown record, then ultimately wins a Super Bowl. Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl his first year in Tampa Bay, and then he's still last season especially, put up great stats. My expectations for Matt Ryan was certainly not that, because I think that he's been diminishing, as you said, and we're going to kind of get into the stats, but diminishing throughout the tail end of his career here in Atlanta. But I was thinking under 4,000 yards, under 30 touchdowns, and hopefully around 10 interceptions, which is probably eerily similar to what Carson Wentz had in Indianapolis last season. But it was going to be efficient enough to convert the third downs. When he does throw those interceptions, it isn't at back-breaking times. And I think what we've discovered is the turnovers are up, the touchdowns are kind of down a little bit, and we're like, what do we get? Do we get Carson Wentz again? And what's the deal?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Josh. Do you think that some of the pushback on Matt Ryan now is a blowback from Rivers and Wentz because we're now in a 3-year kind of, recycle kind of quarterbacks? Do you think if this was the first time around, we'd be a little bit more lenient on him? Or you think he's just like, we're tired of this and we're tired of these veteran quarterbacks? And we want nothing to do with them anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point, and fans are getting upset about that. They're like, okay, we're ready for our young quarterback. Matt Ryan's fumbled the ball 11 times in 5 games, 7 interceptions. Key number here is taken 21 sacks, and certainly not all of them have been his fault, and only thrown 5 touchdown passes. I think you have to look at what the Colts have done over the past few years, and like you said, if the Phillip Rivers thing doesn't happen, the Carson Wentz thing doesn't happen, we probably have a little more grace for this situation. But the ultimate question is Matt Ryan really washed up, or have the Colts just let him down? And
I want to answer that one because I think what the Colts have asked for Matt Ryan to do, to me, is unfair that we're now judging Matt Ryan to be able to do what they're asking him to do. They're literally asking him to win games for their team. They have 0 run game. They have absolutely horrible blocking right now. And they're saying, Matt Ryan, you drop back and you throw the ball and you are going to win us this game. And that's just unfair expectations for Matt Ryan. Has he been great? No. Has he been bad in moments, especially early in the games? Yes. His first quarter lines are horrible. His fumbling, there's no excuses for that. The interceptions and sacks, they kind of go together because pressure comes. I'm going to put that a lot more on no run game and offensive line. But it's just unfair right now for the Indianapolis Colts and the fans to put all this on Matt Ryan because they're asking him to do way much more than what anyone expected him to do.
That I agree 100%. I hate that I agree with you because I don't like agreeing with you all the time. but the fact of the matter is, we talk about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and you have to think, I mean, Tom Brady, the weapons he has around them and the names and what they actually do for Tom Brady there in Tampa Bay to make his success possible. The Colts, the sexy pitch to Matt Ryan when he came to Indianapolis was, we have a great offensive line. We have a good running game. Maybe we don't have the weapons that a Tampa Bay has, but they're going to be solid receivers, and you're going to be able to work the play action game. You're going to be able to be an efficient passer and rely on a good running game and a good defense, and we're going to be a competitive football team. And that's been not the case at all. The offensive line has been bad. Like you said, they haven't been able to run the ball, and he's had to throw it and make these receivers make plays. Alec Pierce has had to grow up. Michael Pittman, he's had to develop into a major number one target. It's been interesting, and I think it's just a matter of Matt Ryan. Yeah, maybe his skills aren't what they were 6 years ago, but the Colts have let this guy down. And the plan before the season was run the ball, have a good offensive line, play good defense. They play solid defense, but the other two have not happened, and that's why this Matt Ryan experiment is not working so far.
Yeah, and if all the Colts fans out there, you need to accept what this experience is because it's going to be the same thing going forward. This is not going to change. I don't see any kind of run game or offensive line improving in the next few weeks or maybe for the rest of the season. There is some major stuff. You just don't fix that overnight. I don't know if they're hiding injuries on the offensive line. I don't know if something's more serious with Jonathan Taylor. But this experience that you've experienced the first 5 weeks is going to continue. And it's going to have some highs, like, some of the things Matt Ryan does, the comebacks and the Matty Ice stuff in the fourth quarter. And it's going to have some lows, especially the first quarter. Some of the weird sacks that they take, some of the poor decisions. And it's just going to go all over the map. And so if you are sitting here and saying, well, that was the beginning of the season. No, this is who we are. This is who the Colts are. And you better get used to it.
So I guess here's the deal then. At the end of the day, is Matt Ryan washed?
Yes, 100% washed.
Oh.
You're not getting anything more from him. Don't expect anything else. He's washed. The Colts are in trouble if they can't run and block.
No, that's off, way off. This team has failed Matt Ryan. And
he's not Tom Brady. He's not Peyton Manning. Come on now. Come on, Josh.
He's not. He never was either. And since you never were, then that doesn't mean you're washed. It just maybe he's diminished. He's diminished. I'll give you that, but he's not washed. The Colts have failed Matt Ryan. Guys, that's the Common Colt Podcast. Matt Ryan is not washed. The Colts have failed the guy. You heard it from me, not Dan. Until next time, make sure to like, subscribe, comment what your thoughts are, and have a great week.